zelmksi, aggz, aobwz, ups, tgzovebnlm office. So, any thoughts in the meantime about that or what we went over last time?
Just, well, actually, some things did come to mind, which has come to mind a lot here lately. The strength of will, you know, things that if one allows it, there's certain things can eat you up. You know what I mean? So the strength of will, I think, and doors opening. When doors open, another one shuts. And that part is over. So it's like one has made it through that.
So we have a new symbol here. And I put it on this. Okay, let me.
Awesome.
I want to have 24 made to have the runes on in 3 months, but so I'd seen parts of this symbol over time. Like I've seen the dot by itself, or part of the line, or the whole line, and parts of the squiggle, but it like, you know, it came all together. So since it came all together, I knew what it was. But it's you know, you see lines and dots and circles and stuff. It's like okay, but then it comes together and it's like, this is the sigillum of Lughnasadh, or the start of fall, as it would be called. Because you got those myths about the water serpents. The water serpent comes with the flood and all that stuff. So I don't know how much that relates. But this is the time. This is the time where that starts to be the thing. There's the berries. For some reason, people start their wars. Line up the troops. Let's go to war. We have a lot of stuff. It's like, if you have more than you need, why are you going to war? Other people have more than they need. Let's take some of that. And, that's really what happens with almost every single war. It's not defensive or anything like this. It's a couple groups of people fighting over resources, and maybe one starts it, and not, but you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know, for the most part, we don't need to. And honestly, it's like, you know, regardless of the word, you know, like with other programs you see here, you know, regardless of the word predator, the fact is that, you know, it's not some debaucherous, oh, I just feel like killing someone today or something like this. No, you have to regard the circumstances. And without regarding those circumstances, it's like it's like a lion. Lions don't just go around and just kill every animal in sight. It's like they wait till they need some food. Like this meme's it's not gonna be for a while.
It's almost like humans kill for fun. Animals kill out of necessity, but people, you know.
So yeah, that meme right there is you know, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that one for a while, but I thought my edits of my folding of page over page and stuff like this worked well.
That basically shows the state of the world, you know.
Sort of, because they're like, because these people think it's, oh, you know, again, it's a senseless thing. Like it's like, I don't know why in the world does what's his name glorify the idea of big old armies and nuclear war and stuff like this. Why is he glorifying this? What's spiritual values in it for him? If he's not using it, he's not using it, right? But
Right.
and because that's the thing. Well, maybe maybe if a person was using it. So I've had a selection here of verses that relate to the issue of sacrifice, and I'll interlude when I switch over from one book to the next. But the from the Quran here, the translation. Now, in the actual ceremony, I don't do the translations. I actually read the Arabic or the Greek or the Aramaic or whatever. But 108:2. Hold on. Pray to your Lord and sacrifice to him, basically. But it's in the context, in this chapter, it's in the context, it's the shortest chapter out of the 114, but you're provided for something, so that's where the sacrifice comes from. And regardless of people not liking what you're doing, you're going to keep on doing what you're doing. And of course, you're welcome to throw in whatever comment you want to say at any point.
It should be switched to like a wholeness of existence. You know, if the human race could strive for wholeness of existence instead of destruction and wiping it out, you know, it's very hard to wrap your head around the reality of what's really going on in the world. There's things, you know, that we don't see. And
well, again, the thing about sacrifices is it's not just the fact that it's a sacrifice, it's that here are aspects of life. Like the you know, typically what people hear, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But they typically are the other way around, the first part.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You know, whichever order you do it. People typically think, one of the things that people may think of when they hear that is the Krishnatarian diet. So, and that verse that we have in the Sanskrit there on the board, you know, of food taken after the performance of sacrifices, the devotees are eaters. And whoever just gets all kinds of sense enjoyment, you know, they get, oh, things are mixed up here. But yeah, you know, they get all kinds of relief, but the other people get all kinds of sin because they're just doing this stuff for sense enjoyment. So the issue is not always what a person does, it's what the other. And this next verse selected here, 48:25, those who are unbelievers debarred you from the sacred oration place and prevented your offerings from reaching their destination. But for the fear you might have felt trampled under feet, believing that men and women unknown to you, and thus incurred guilt on their account. And, you know, deity would have commanded you to fight it out with them, if that would have been the case, but he ordered it thus so that he might bring unto whom he will to his mercy. Had the faithful stood apart from them, we should have sternly punished the misbelieving. But the thing was that, okay, first of all, what was being talked about was not it's not because they believe something different. They're keeping people from their own from the place of worship. They don't want them to take part in their rites and all this other stuff. Like the people who complain about, oh, animal sacrifice, it's like, oh, but are you kidding me? You eat meat. You're okay with the blade swinging back and forth and some animal being shot in the neck with a nail gun or something, but you know, calmly going out, that freaks you out. Because I've heard even news stories about people complaining about, oh, we expect, it's like when they kill animals, there's no squealing and screaming of animals. It's like, that should be the reason not to call the police, not the reason to call the police. Something weird's going on. I don't hear no squealing and no pigs or anything like that out there. And it's like, and of course, police officers that are like, we wish this was a Christian country. Now, I'm not saying all police officers, but some of them go along with that stuff because they're like, they should have said, sir, people have freedom to their religion. If there's, you know, they're out there in robes killing animals. It's like, so that's perfectly legal, you know. But yeah, this idea of, you know, forcing people not to practice their faith. What happened? All these grimoires. What happened? People have symbols on paper. They don't carve a desk where they have the symbols. So they have the altars that they used to. They had wax and stuff like this. And nowadays people are getting back into, oh, let's carve some furniture and let's do all this other stuff because you know you can. Back in the day you couldn't. You wanted something you could throw away or throw straight in the fire. Oh, there's a knock on the door. I don't know who it is. I better throw it away. I'll make this thing another time, right? Because they'll kill you, even if it's biblically based. They you know, they kill someone. Which
fear, you know, is.
And it's like people should focus on what they're doing, not trying to force others not to do what they're doing.
Right. Fear is a big control mechanism. You know, they use fear, and it controls quite a few.
Oh, and this one, okay, 3703. We ransomed his son with the noble sacrifice and bestowed on him the praise in latter generations, peace be upon Abraham. Now, one of the interesting things about that passage that's different than what you're maybe used to from, probably would have encountered from the Bible or something before. It doesn't say that God sent an angel or God otherwise told Abraham, kill your son, kill your son. Oh no, I'm just kidding. The story comes off different.
Right.
The guy has a dream. It's like, I know things are pretty hard. Maybe human sacrifice would be necessary, but that's just the soul speaking to him or some other entity. And then God sends an angel and says, hey, you've done enough with this dream. You've done enough with this dream. You know, how can you love? How can God? How can you be saying, "Oh, I love the workers of righteousness," if he didn't fulfill the commandment? Right? There was no commandment. It's just, you know, and he asks his son about it. He didn't ask God about it. The story in here doesn't say that he asked God about it, but because the Christians and the Jews interpret it that way, because that's what the Bible says. People like go into this one, and so obviously. So if you think it's too extreme, there's something else, right? There's something else out there that's going to give you an opportunity, or maybe you don't have the resource that people think you want that is necessary, right?
Right.
It's like honestly, if you have any polished rock and you need a polished rock for a ritual, that's going to be just fine. You know, it doesn't require what people think it does.
I'm surprised that, I mean, and this is just my opinion, but I'm surprised that more people don't see, like in the Bible, how much violence it really contains, like wars and.
Well, the thing that I'll tell you, the one thing that I left off this list, because it really didn't do the point for, first of all, and just there was so much stuff, and what I'm going to include that, you know. The bit about the where was it? It's the book of Judges or one of the Samuels or Kings or something like that. Somebody, it's like Sodom and Gomorrah, but worse. The guy is like, he throws his family, he throws his wife and daughter out the front door and lets them get raped all night, and in the morning decides, I don't want them back in my house after that. It's like, well, first of all, you put them through it, and second of all, even if you didn't, it's like, come on, dude, just because maybe for safety reasons or something, you don't touch your wife for a while. Okay, that's one thing, but doing that, no. But then it just keeps on getting worse.
Yeah.
He cuts up the woman. He cuts them up and offers a piece of each to the 12 tribes of Israel. So he sends them as offerings for on behalf of the 12 tribes of Israel out to Israel.
Wow.
And it's like, what are these tribes of, what are these pre-Jewish tribes of Israel into if they're like, oh yeah, we received some parts of dead body, we received part of a young woman and a part of part of a middle-aged woman today, and I guess someone did a human sacrifice somewhere. So obviously don't want to confuse with that sort of thing. And 22:30. Oh, I have a different graphic on one hand and the other. So 33. For every community, is this one the one?
It's still the red and white.
What?
Oh, did you ask what was on the board or your background?
Well, my background isn't the thing I'm trying to look the list off for, but this is the one that talks about 22:37 says, their flesh and blood does not reach God. It is your piety that reaches him, and thus he subjected them to your service, and so that you may give glory to God for guiding you. And it's interesting. Beldam's work kind of speaks about the whole thing that, the numinous, the ultimate divinity that maybe we know through some other entities in between, but the ultimate divinity is kind of like that because the term Allah is not it's a singular and definitive of God, and it's astounding and stuff like this, but it's not the personifications and all this stuff. So without the personifications and stuff like this, so a God that doesn't need to be, it's not eating and drinking when they get these sacrifices.
Right.
And 6. Yeah, I've had to shut windows because there are some clouds and I don't want to be caught unawares with some rain running in and out of here.
There's been a lot here today. More on the way.
Because it's one thing, because not everybody has that overhang thing going on to keep them safe from that stuff.
I blow in on you.
162. Okay, that's where it is. Say my prayers and my devotion and my life and my death and my sacrifice, they're all for divinity, Lord of the universe, beyond peer. Thus I am commanded, being first of the surrenderers. And that's the thing the point that I was making earlier with sacrifices. It's not something that's it's something, it's about imbibing all of life. It's like, why Christianity partially caught on is the sacrament. People were making their meals secular, and that was no longer the thing. So here's this group with a ritual that you get to eat in, and it's like, so since some of those were going away, or they were only once every couple months or something, like the seasonal stuff that I do now. So they made a sacred meal out of it. But honestly, anything you eat or there's some drops of rain, so I did need to shut things. So if it doesn't get too loud, but if it does get too loud, I won't have to do the work of watering today. And then some days after.
There you go.
'So the story of Adam's 2 sons, I mean, the meaning, whether you believe, there was a start of humanity. It just doesn't make sense to say, oh, there was no start of humanity. But it just wasn't 5,000 years ago.
Right. I think it's
Count
been
in all truth the story of the first civilized human beings, 2 sons, and how they each made an offering. Now each offering, the offering of the one was accepted, while the offering of the other was not. And you know, then it gets off into the other part, right?
right.
But so again, it's not these outer deeds. There's something with it, like offering your best stuff, that sort of stuff, because
Yeah.
you know, there's people that are like, I know it varies per place, but honestly, your trash heap, don't have all your dirty tattered stuff that you would never do anything except throw away if they weren't shredding it at the Goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't act like you're being all this all charitable or something, because you bring piles of the stuff that you would have thrown away.
Right on.
Well, they'll
Right.
melt it down and use the plastic or this rod over here. It's like, yeah, but you're making their minimum wage workers do all that work.
Yeah.
When they might have already had a little bit of a break more than that. It's like, oh no, we have to go through this guy's pile again.
Oh no, not him.
And here's another one that people expect. Now, you know, that meme I showed you earlier, oh, it's not going on here, but I might as well bring up the meme that I showed with the other, and you know, just to show the audience what I was talking about. But okay, and anyways, here's 383. To those that declare God has commanded us to believe in no apostle until he brings down a fire consuming the sacrifice, say other apostles were sent before with signs like this and worked miracles you asked for. Why'd you slay them if what you say to be true? And it goes into, you know, it's like, hey, you're not believing because it was done in the past. Why should you believe now? But the fire that you see or the other stuff like that happens, but it doesn't happen on the level that people think it does. It's like all this talk about now. It's very alluring. It's very alluring to become a living God stuff with their physical manifestation. You just pay for my series. We're the first people to ever get physical manifestation on video evidence. We swear it. Even though we CGI'd things, you CGI'd things, dude. Come on. But the so even with some of that stuff going on, they're still like you know, but you know, there's psychological things that happen, there's spiritual things that happen, and you evoke yourself and you build up your awareness, and stuff happens. It's like the stuff I'm saying on my video, sometimes there's electronic glitches or something like that, and maybe it affects that, but maybe it's my own body field. There's something going on with my body field that messes with the camera settings or something. I don't know. That's about as likely as anything. But but some of these things, yeah, they're real, but they're not going to show up on camera. I'm telling that it's like, here I am, like some tiny little light from some cricket or something. It's like, no, dude, that's a cricket. No, I'm not talking about the cricket. I'm not talking about the firefly off in the distance that you saw blip up. I'm not talking about that when I'm describing my experience, you know.
Right.
But you describe describing one's experience on spot and stuff like that, and CGIing that your eyes do weird stuff, and it's like, no.
Right. I agree.
And one last verse from this source before we get into some cards, I guess, do all the cards in this, but if in peacetime anyone among you combines the visit with the pilgrimage, he must offer such gifts as he can afford. See, it's always about what you can afford. It's not gold or nothing, right? It's like one of the Islamic customs is you cut the hair of the baby when it's on the 8th day of life. You cut its hair, and you give the weight of the hair. Now, if you can't afford to give it the weight of the hair in gold, you don't give the weight of the hair in gold. It's simple, right?
Wow.
Now, I don't know how much an infant's hair weighs, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But if he lacks the means, let him fast 3 days during the pilgrimage and 7 when he returns. It's 10 days in all. That is incumbent on him and his family who is not present at the Holy Mosque. Have fear of God, know that God is stern in retribution. Now, I don't know exactly where the word mosque comes from because it's not Arabic. It's kind of something to answer. But yeah. But the thing is, there's times and places, and you do what you can with what you have, and all that stuff.
Right.
So I said there would be some cards here. So 4 cards that because I'm going with the Fiery Wicca Tarot, there's extra cards for each season. So we're start of the cooling quarter, so might as well bring out the water card, which this deck is difficult in a way because you have to learn new names for some of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn the fact that they switched. It's like, no, none of these societies were matriarchies. It wasn't that the women were in charge of it. It's like the women did have a say relating to their husbands who were rulers or whatever. Okay, but it's not the same thing as a matriarchy in the feminist sense. So that's one issue with this deck but I do like this deck and the fact that just like the Thoth Tarot, this is supposed to represent their experiences, not just an arrangement of the themes, but their experiences throughout their life in this path.
Awesome.
So Kisma K. Stepanich, this deck was used in professional divination, and the store and the store that offered the services said, well, they moved on to a different deck. So I bought this deck cheaper than its full price, and that was probably the only deck that I know that I have that has been used like that. Which it's very important, I guess, that is connected to whatever. But I'm not like, oh well, I don't know what they did to the deck. It could they could have possessed it their particular way. But the hazel wand, it's kind of musical because you shake it. It's like a rattle. But some of the
I'm sorry. I just saw the galaxy. I see a galaxy when I look at that card. I see stars and like a galaxy far, far away.
Well, one of the things when you use magical tools, yes, they have physical things, and no, it's not. Here's my secret Order of 9 Angles related group ritual stone, and it has these powers over you. And no, it's all in the use. It's all in the use. But the more you use it, the more it gets attached to you in a certain way. It's like, oh, I know this stone. This stone is just for my Grimorian Barum type rituals, and maybe a little Goetia. I don't know yet. I haven't used it for anything like that. But it's the same sort of thing, Solomonic magic sort of stuff. But not, don't jump. Oh, you listener, don't jump the gun, because I do things my own way. I'm not like, I'm such a good Christian that you demons must obey me and convert, damn it. But the and my seasonal one, the Catholic New Year starts with the Samhain. But so there's the gifts of the fairy card, but fairy is not the fairy is basically the word for jinn. It's all the spirits, all these male and female entities out there that are disincarnate. It refers to all of them. It's not just some fluffy thing where there's some winged little cute thing on a whatever. All the things are fairies. So, you know, just thought I'd throw that part of it out there. Hold on. And so the seasonal point, the start of the cooling quarter, about a week into August, as we've seen here. I might as well remind. So let's do Pacific time. Not Pacific time. We did Pacific time. Eastern Standard Time. So it would be 8:36 a.m. August 7th, Sunday, 2022. So that is the date of this in the Eastern time zone.
Okay.
So we have the Magician here. So there's some differences in the cards. So whatever your thoughts of this specific, you have the, you have the Emperor card. And you have the, what's the other one? Oh, so the Hermit. But see, the Hermit's different. And this is one of those decks that I painted a version of this. I mean, I didn't do all the borders and all this other stuff, but I pointed, sort of just showed the distinction, just like I did with the Thoth Tarot. So I painted a series of cards with this. So
Awesome.
the Druid, the Magician, the Emperor. And the Emperor's name is the good God. But we can strip all this male and female language off of it, Abraxas and Barbalo and all this other stuff. We can strip this. Well, I mean, that's a different language, that's Greek, so we can
I see a spade.
What?
I see a spade in that Emperor card. A spade. Not
Well,
like
his position kind of sounds like he's a spade, but he's like standing on a holy stone in a particular posture and all that stuff. But just like those statues in India, it's not about that. It's not about this it's not about his particular clothes. The postures and stuff have meaning. So it's not that the deity looks like this or are using black robes like death. Death doesn't, this isn't the death card, but death is not like some dude in a hooded robe with a sickle. I'm sorry, it's just not. But you see those statues in India and people get all stuck up. It's like, oh, God's like this 6-armed thing standing on someone. It's like, not if you actually read deep into the actual literature, but you kind of, they figured that people were not going to make that mistake. But then they stopped educating the poor. So since they don't educate the poor, but it gives more authority for those priests. So any of these cards that you'd like to say something about?
I see glory in the Hermit card, like a glory, an accomplishment. But mainly,
you can't really see too well, but you're the arms up. That's victory. This is victory. This is and anything kind of like that or like straight V. It's like the victory sign. But it's an accomplishment sort of victory, a typhon sort of thing sometimes.
Awesome.
But what is the Hermit? He's got a fire. He's got a moon. He's got a hut. Some sort of drawing celestial attachment ritual. And that's something that a person can throw in, like my collages. My collages sometimes have stuff where, if you've seen any of my posts or video or whatever that have collages, if anybody watching has, I sometimes insert, the sun is heliacal rising in this constellation. So I put these two things over here representing that, and a couple over here representing that. Now it's not always completely even, but I try to get like different planets, including like Uranus and stuff like that. So, you draw down. I guess that would be a left-hand path thing. But people get all bent out of shape with all that left-hand path, right-hand path, like it's like it's not what people think it is. And the druid's got all his magical tools, but he's got his different gear. Like I told you, I have rain gear. I have good rain, like hurricane rain gear. I have, you know, most of my life I never had anything like that, so I'm you know, I have more of a feeling about it. I have tactical clothes, camouflage for the summer, and I have winter gear that's good to 40 below. Now it's not gonna get 40 below here, even if we have nuclear winter and it drops 13 degrees, like they think. Stop provoking nuclear war. What's wrong with you? 13-degree drop in temperature, I can take it. It's like, but half the country is going to get burnt. You think you're really going to be automatically on the side of the survivor? What if you're on the what if you have to go into Dallas or something? So don't think you're in the right part of Texas. And honestly, Texas might be a bomb by itself. That's whatever. But the
right on.
but yeah, so but it's something that, okay, if something happens in one's house, it's like, okay, you sleep on it, right? So it's one thing you're out and about active in this gear. Another thing, it's like, oh, it's a cozy place to sleep. So you got that with yourself. And if you want to break into another program after these few minutes, you could do that.
Okay.
And then we could close that part with these.
Okay.
But we've, so what are the other ones? We've crossed away for the magic bag. So you carry these things around, you're willful, but your intention. But what we've just left, what is it? The magician. Magician, he's got his tools. It's like the whole plan. And of course, one way to look at tarot is you got the trumps. Each of the trumps have all the minor arcana cards. So that would be what's the number?
20, 21 or 22 or 54?
No, 22 times 56. Is that it? So 1,232. So it's like every deck of cards really has that. And in this deck, you really have like a separate ace. This musical instrument to play, it's like, for some reason, the male and female spirits that people call gods and goddesses like musical instruments. When you're just worshiping the transcendent, it doesn't really need the extra things. But then again, you can move yourself to the patterns of this sort of stuff. There was a Sufi order, you've noticed that I've been posting a lot of Sufi videos, and I'm going to continue a couple weeks after this one to have Sufi videos come up. And then I'm going to take a break and I guess get back to my other series eventually. But one of the things, there's a Sufi group, I forget what it's called, but they translate the entirety of the Quran into music, because there's like 30 notes. And instead of speaking them, they'll play a musical instrument and they'll follow the pattern. Now they do both, mind you, but they translate it into that. And I think you can do that with a lot of scriptures. If you some of these older language stuff, you can translate the thing into music. So if you know what you're doing, like some of the Rajas and some of the Hindu musicians, a lot of this stuff actually comes from the religious tradition. It's like, this is the song of this time, this is the song of that time. And some of it actually makes